When we think about PS2 shooters, it's always the big names that come up, but every now and then there's one that just sticks with you, one you never really hear anyone talk about anymore. And for me, that was Area 51, a strange atmospheric horror shooter packed with conspiracies, aliens, and some surprisingly solid gunplay. It even had a shockingly good voice cast, with David Duchovny, Marilyn Manson, and Powers Boothe all lending their voices. This is one of those games I always remembered, even if the world seemed to forget it. If you're new here, welcome to Jake's Save Room, a channel dedicated to preserving gaming's lost stories, from forgotten horror gems to overlooked classics. Every week we break down games that don't always get the attention they deserve. And this video is part of the Horror Shelf, where we shine a light on horror games that slip through the cracks, whether they're cult favorites or hidden gems you might have missed. And today we're taking a look back at Area 51, what it is, what makes it stand out, and why it's absolutely worth revisiting if you love horror shooters.
From within me, used to corrupt your kind and mine. It is a potent weapon indeed. In me runs the disease and the cure. To restore your humanity, you must inject my blood. In time, my DNA will combine with yours, cleansing you of the virus.
Area 51 is a 2005 sci-fi first-person shooter. It was developed by Midway Studios Austin, released on PS2, Xbox, and PC. It's a reimagining of the old 90s arcade shooter, but this time it's built around a story-driven campaign. And you play as Ethan Cole, a hazmat operative sent into Area 51 after a viral outbreak hits the base. What starts as a standard cleanup mission quickly turns into something bigger, dealing with government conspiracies, alien experiments, and mutations spreading through the facility. It's a linear shooter with a mix of guns, mutagen powers, and some classic horror atmosphere thrown in. The combat here keeps things pretty fast-paced. You've got a mix of military-style firearms and alien tech as you make your way through the facility. You're not just sticking to the usual pistol or rifle either. Some weapons you can dual-wield, like the shotgun and the SMG, which actually feels pretty solid. Most weapons also have two firing modes. You've got a standard shot and then a secondary fire that hits harder but burns through ammo quicker, or sacrifices accuracy. There's also grenades for crowd control, and you'll run into things like mounted turrets along the way to mix it up. It's straightforward, but it keeps a good rhythm. Nothing overly complex, just run and gun with some fun extra tools to keep the pace moving. Things shift partway through the game. Around the halfway mark, you get infected with the mutagen, unlocking the ability to mutate on command, letting you shred enemies, spot cloaked enemies, and even heal yourself by firing parasites or absorbing energy from fallen enemies. The mutant powers help break up the gameplay, adding some risk-reward tension. You can heal and deal big damage, but you're on a limited timer each time you transform. Another layer comes from the scanner system. It's a tool on your suit that lets you scan files, dead enemies, or hidden items throughout the base. You can't fight while scanning, so it's a slower, investigative piece that builds out the story and lets you unlock hidden lore videos if you dig deep enough. And these are actually really cool. Finding things like crop circle secrets or Illuminati dollar bills. It's a cool added feature if you're really into conspiracy theory stuff.
I am Mr. White. My real name is unimportant. I am the facilitator of Dreamland. Yes, the maker of dreams. I like that.
The game kicks off in 1947 with the classic Roswell crash. The US military recovers a downed alien ship and one surviving Grey named Edgar. They haul it all to Area 51, and not long after, the Illuminati, run by the mysterious Mr. White, strike a deal with the Greys. In exchange for a secret underground lab, human test subjects, and landing rights, the Greys hand over advanced tech, which the Illuminati immediately turn into tools for spying on civilians.
I thought this place was quarantined.
From there, the experiments spiral. Hidden beneath 3 miles of concrete, Greys and human scientists develop a mutagenic virus, along with a monstrous weapon called Theta. Most of the scientists think this for the Greys' own war back home, until Dr. Cray uncovers the real plan. The Greys and the Illuminati are going to unleash the virus on Earth and wipe out humanity. Cray sabotages everything. He releases Theta and the virus inside Area 51, trying to stop the plan. That's where you come in. We play as Ethan Cole, like I've mentioned, a hazmat operative with Team Bravo, sent in to clean up the mess. You're dropped into a base completely overrun with the mutants, bioweapons, and Theta roaming the halls. Around midway through, Ethan ends up bitten and infected, but manages to survive by mutating, gaining superhuman strength and mutagenic abilities. You're guided by Edgar, the same Gray from Roswell, who communicates through reanimated corpses and telepathy, helping you piece together what's really going on.
Ethan Cole. Your blood runs dark and diseased. Your weak, insignificant shell turns against you. Find the anti-mutagen, and you may find a better death.
Through hidden labs, mutated caves, and flooded lower levels, you push deeper into the complex, facing military betrayal, mutants, and the Theta itself. You take revenge on Theta, but the job's not done. Cray tries to cure you, but the Illuminati attack, killing him and stopping the decontamination process. In the final stretch, Edgar explains everything. The virus was made from his DNA. The experiments slaughtered his people. And now, dozens of Thetas are being prepped to invade the world. You take on one last mission, destroy the alien ship, escape the base, and prevent the apocalypse. The game closes on Ethan watching Area 51 explode, barely escaping through a teleporter. But not everything is wrapped up. A mysterious truck leaves the site carrying something unknown, hinting that the conspiracy is far from over. Just real quick, if you've been enjoying the video so far, or you just like seeing these overlooked games get a little love, consider subscribing. We're getting really close to our first major milestone for the channel at 1,000 subscribers, and every sub genuinely helps us keep this thing going. Plus, we've got plenty more weird, forgotten games lined up.
The philosopher Sartre once said, "Hell is other people." He was only half right. My mind and body have been altered beyond reason. I don't know who or what I am anymore. We came here to rescue a small group of men. We failed. I failed. But their sacrifices may have saved mankind. For now.
What really stuck with me about Area 51 is how much identity it had. For a mid-2000s shooter, it wasn't just another run and gun. The atmosphere hit you right away. Dark, military corridors, creepy abandoned labs, that unsettling coldness you get in government facility settings. It plays like a traditional FPS, but the horror tone keeps it tense. You're never just fighting waves of enemies, you're pushing deeper into a really messed up world, trying to figure out what's going on. Then there's the mutation system. It's simple, but it changes the rhythm of fights. One second you're leaning on your human weapons, then next you're turning into a half-mutated monster, ripping enemies apart and shooting out parasites to heal. It keeps you from ever feeling too safe. And like I mentioned in the beginning, the voice cast is insane. David Duchovny, Powers Boothe, Marilyn Manson, and even Nolan North is in it. They didn't have to go that hard for a weird horror shooter in 2005, but they did, and it gives the game this strange sense of weight it probably wouldn't have had otherwise. And it also had the scanner, which was nothing wild gameplay-wise, but it really helped sell the mystery side of it. Finding hidden files, seeing weird videos pop up, learning more about the Greys and the Illuminati conspiracy. It made Area 51 feel bigger than what you're seeing moment to moment, and I really always appreciated it.
Area 51, the thing that attracted me to it is the same thing that attracts me to doing any film project. It's the story first. As a player, you're involved in the story and the creation of that story and survival and whatever, and you got something to go on.
If you're into horror, especially that mid-2000s era of creepy shooters, Area 51 is absolutely worth a visit. It's not survival horror in the traditional sense, but the atmosphere carries the same dread. You've got flickering lights and gutted labs and constant feeling of being trapped somewhere you really shouldn't be. And what makes it stand out from your average shooter is that slow creep of conspiracy horror. You're not just fighting random monsters, you're uncovering something rotten, layers of cover-ups, betrayals, and experiments that never should have happened. There's a claustrophobic tension to the whole game, especially when you're pushing through the deeper sections of the facility. Plus it's got that body horror element, which I'm a huge fan of. Mutating yourself to survive, watching other soldiers twist and fall apart, seeing things through infected eyes. It really scratches that bio-horror itch without fully stepping into pure gore-fest territory. And honestly, if you love horror games with that weird, slightly forgotten edge, this is the kind of thing that hits that spot. It's messy in places, definitely. It's an old game, but it's got that raw, eerie vibe that a lot of modern horror shooters just don't capture anymore. Area 51 didn't exactly set the world on fire when it launched, but it wasn't written off either. It landed pretty firmly in that decent but overlooked range. GameSpot gave it a 6.9, pointing out the strong audio design, sharp visuals, and solid multiplayer mode, but called out the voice acting and repetitive gameplay as weak spots. Their takeaway was pretty simple. If you just wanted a fresh shooter to mess around with, it'd do the trick. But if you were expecting a next level experience, it wasn't quite there. Other outlets lined up about the same. Gamers Hell hit it with a 6.2, once again praising the graphics and sound the most. IGN leaned a little bit more positive with an average user rating setting around 7.5, basically saying it was a good time, even if it wasn't going to blow anyone away. One interesting note is that Area 51 actually became freeware years later. You could legally download it and play it for free on PC, though that version's harder to track down now. The multiplayer scene obviously died off when Xbox Live shut down for the original Xbox, but it still lives on through fan-run servers like Insignia, which is honestly pretty cool for a forgotten mid-2000s shooter. In the end, Area 51 kinda just drifted into the hidden gem category, one of those games you might have picked up on a whim, or had tucked away in your collection, but rarely saw people talk about after the PS2 era wrapped up. This is one of those games that feels perfectly set up for a remaster, and honestly, it's surprising nobody's done it yet. Area 51 didn't get its due back then, but looking at it now, there's a lot of untapped potential just sitting here. First off, it nailed atmosphere, in a way a lot of modern shooters still struggle with. The mix of government paranoia, body horror, and alien conspiracies hits a very specific nerve, and there's definitely room to take that even further today. With updated visuals, better lighting, and modern sound design, the tension and horror elements could really shine through in a way they just couldn't back in 2005. The core gameplay loop is pretty solid, it just needs refining. The mutation system, for example, could easily be expanded. Different mutation paths, more unique abilities, maybe some risk-reward mechanics. And those scanner segments, they could be turned into a bigger feature, maybe letting players uncover actual meaningful lore, unlock new side missions, or open up alternate endings. Multiplayer could be revived too, especially with how retro shooters are making a comeback in the online scene. Imagine some chaotic old-school arena matches with mutant abilities thrown in. With Insignia servers already keeping it alive in small circles, there's clearly still love for this one. And it's not just about nostalgia, there's a gap in the market for horror shooters like this. Everything now is either huge budget open world or super linear cinematic stuff. There's a space for something that feels more focused, more grimy, more self-contained. A remaster could bring that feeling back. Plus, with the original now basically abandoned as freeware, this is a rare chance to reintroduce it into modern players. Maybe even build up to a new entry if the remaster did well. It wouldn't take much to give Area 51 that second life. The bones are already solid, it just needs someone willing to dust it off and let it breathe again. So that's Area 51, a strange, atmospheric horror shooter that definitely deserved more love than it got. It's rough in spots, sure, but there's something about the vibe, the setting, and the weirdness of all of it that just sticks with you. Games like this are why we started the horror shelf in the first place, to give a proper spotlight to titles that got swept under the rug. If you played this one, I'd love to hear your memories down in the comments, and if you haven't, maybe now's the time to check it out. We're also pushing really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is a massive milestone for the channel. If you've enjoyed this breakdown and want to help me reach that goal, it keeps growing the channel and helps us keep diving into more of these forgotten corners of gaming. Thanks for hanging out with me today. More deep dives, hidden gems, and horror recommendations are always on the way. And as always, I'll see y'all later.